Hey guys, so we will do two videos. One to help you start with the prototype if you're doing a text-based application using, one of the usability design principles. And for the purpose of this video, we will use Ben Schneiderman's 8 golden rules. And then we'll do another video where it's for desktop-based application and how to use Ben Schneiderman's 8 golden rules there. So first thing first, we will create a new document. So we'll create a new document and it shows you all of these templates. I'm sure one of your mentors must have highlighted these to you. So I just want to show you how to just play around with Lucidchart to maybe find what you're looking for if there is, or even if it's not, that's also okay because everything is there. So you just need to um, be able to find it, and if it's not, then you should be able to create it. So let's try wire flow. And if we try Wireflow, we will see there's this mobile, something similar to mobile. This is the one that we were using um, in the lecture. And then Wireflow example, and then iOS Wireflow. So just, different examples to see here. And then if we look into the standard, there are, sorry, flowcharts, and then plan and track projects, visualize technical systems, and then brainstorm ideas, organize paper, design, UI, and layouts. So if you select design, UI, and layouts, you will see all of the different templates that they have here. Some are related to, designing a software. Some are not so related. So they might be the ones that you can use, for example, for to show the sitting plan of an airplane, or the layout, the floor plan of a house or of the office, and you'll see a lot more options here. But this is where you will find all of them, and then you can see which one you need, or you can just select further to make it more accurate to your need. And that's all the templates there are related to designing a software. Some of them are for iPhone. Some of them are for mobile, like just in general for a mobile. Some are for websites and so on. So you can look at some of these examples to learn how to begin with, and then you can move on from there to other options and so on. So we will start with something quite simple. So I don't really need any of these to start a text-based application. So if you really want to start with what we started during the tutorial, just type wire flow and you'll find these examples, and I'm just going to select the one which has the least amount of work. So just blank and create the document. As usual, take a few seconds to create everything and make it ready for me. So there's some options here where you can, you can learn how to use all of these shapes. And there's also a video to show you all the basic tutorials and examples and so on. So we don't need them for this video. So this is what you see, just a a graph sheet. You can obviously extend it. So when you have more stuff to add, you can extend the sheet. So it can be, can go quite big, which is great. So I do tend to make it a little bit big from the beginning so that I don't keep adjusting the size of the sheet that I'm working on. So again, change the name so you can update the name to Shop prototype. So in this video, we'll do how to create a bake-shop prototype using a text-based um, application. So I'll give you guys a few pointers to begin with. Obviously, I'm not going to do the whole thing. Um, you should try to do it yourself for your assignment. So as a team, first of all, we decide which application to design or develop. Once that's decided, next thing we need to decide is which of the guys are you going to use for usability design principles to follow. So for the purpose of this video, we'll use Ben Schneiderman's 8 golden rules just because, well, this guy does not require a lot of explanation. So we'll just go with this one. You can use either one of them. There is no preference of one over the other. I'm just going to use this one since in the lecture we did provide quite good examples for the Donald Normans. So if you miss not having enough examples, I guess you will like this. Screen names, you can put screen names at the top, that's fine. So there's no structure, like no specific structure. There's no set of rules that screen name should be at the top or at the bottom. As long as when I look at your prototype, it tells me a story with using all these kind of arrows and tells me how can I go from here to there. And if you have two options, what will happen if I select one option, and then what will happen if I select two option, three option, and so on. So for each of these screens, if you're using Ben Schneiderman, you need to look into all of these rules, make sure they still apply, they still comply, all of your screens comply to these rules. So screen name. So we'll just go with, main or home screen. So where your application will begin. So based on how much we understand so far about Big Shop prototype, the moment you start your shift and you start taking orders or you start working on, if you're owner or manager, you need to do something. The first thing you need to do is log in. So I'm going to try to create something which is interesting, even if it's text-based. So let's just zoom into our home screen now and then see what we can do here. So for text-based, you have all the keys on your keyboard available. Some of them have symbols that you can use to create something interesting and still keep your user's attention. Even if it's text-based, it doesn't mean it has to be completely bland and dull. So there are things that we can do. So text options are here. You have bold, italics, underline, then your text colors. Some colors are here. Now in text-based, we don't rely on coloring per se, but you can still add, text and some designs and some other similar stuff. So let's begin with adding some text into our screen. So before we begin that, you right click. There are options such as paste plane, open comments, draw a line, create horizontal guide, create vertical guide, add presentation slide. And then you remember there are shapes here, there are containers here. So you can see containers like swim line and these ones, boxes, all just to help you create stuff. So you don't have a lot of options you can see when you have to draw, something like this one. So not a lot of UI support, but you can still make the best out of it. So let's begin now. So text, let's add here. Now you can see, well, that's not what I was expecting. I guess I've been using Word too much. So something that as big as that one will do for me for now. And then first thing we will need to do is always write. So it's text based. It has to always have at the top what? The name of the application. So let's just say Bake Shop. And what else can I do here? So if this is Bake Shop and didn't want to do that, and let's create something. So, you guys will have some other preference of how to create boxes and tags around this. And yeah, I can see Lucid Chart is trying to help me more than I wanted to help me, but yeah, that's okay. And then we can do is, let's say we want to put equal signs just to create a nice banner around the whole thing. And no, little fellow, that's not what I'm trying to do. And just create something like that to create a banner, and that should do. So we'll copy the whole thing again, copy and paste. Now again, this is not how you need to design. I'm not telling you that this is the way for you to design the prototype. I'm just giving you something to, help you begin thinking, and also help you understand how you think, how you need to think when you're developing a software's prototype. Sorry guys, I'm trying to copy the whole thing, but it's just being clever. There you go. And we can do that here. So just like if you look at this, it starts to look more presentable. And then obviously we can add some more information, or let's make this go a little bit inwards so that we don't have to keep. So the good thing about Lucid Chat is also, just like you can do in Word document, you can group things together. So once you have created this for one screen, well, as long as Lucid Chat lets me do it, you should be able to just, copy over, group it, and then just copy over for the rest of the stuff. So let's just leave it there. You can also put, you close the banner with the pipelines. So what I'm trying to say is these ones. So you can use something such as these little lines, which are basically your OR operators that you use in programming, and put them here. Just will start to make a lot more sense. Like you have a closed banner and one there. I think that's where it is. Yep, so quite helpful in these kind of things. And then let's just select all of these shapes, right click, and we should see a group option here. Group them, and now I should be able to select, copy, paste, and move them to the other screens. Let's make our other screen just as big as the one we have. So this one is okay. So I'm just looking at its size and making sure it's around about the same size. You can just copy and paste the screens if you like, but well, if you don't want to, that's also okay. And I want to place it, almost the same place. And just so strive for consistency. That's where your design principles comes into play. So always the screens needs to look similar. Um, the top, the bottom, the surroundings of the screens needs to look similar. Only the data that you're trying to ask the user to input, or the data your user is inputting, could appear differently, but everything around any of the screens should be same. So let's bring our principles here close to us. And now, as I said, you could just group the whole thing together and just copy paste them. That's absolutely fine, which I just realized while, I'm trying to talk to you guys through the video. So the next thing will be based on our requirements is that no matter, where, the first thing what you need to do with the software, the first thing you will do is always enter your username and password. So we can put some instruction message here just to ensure that user know what he or she needs to do. So select the text, and then I'm just going to align it to my pleasing. So I'll put it in the leftmost side because you're doing text based. It's going to be easier if your thing starts from left. Otherwise, you'll always have to put tab spaces or new lines a lot to make it appear in the center. So for for a banner like this, yeah, sure, make the effort for the menus. It might as well all be on the website because that's how human, through universal experience, that's how we have learned to look into information for, most of the countries we read from left to right. So cater to universal usability. That's basically what it is. And we can put a message here. Again, you can put asterisks. And remember, if you're putting asterisks, why you're putting asterisks, if you put exclamation signs, so anything that you use to present information, to highlight, to grab the attention of your user, make sure you use it for same purposes throughout your application. If you start using asterisks here to present information or to grab attention, and then later on you're using to get the input from the user or to notify for an error, it's confusing for human eye for us to understand. So if you use symbols, make sure that you use them so each one of them are used for specific reasons. Okay, so let's now I put 1, 2, 3, 6, 6. Yep, 6 stars, and then you can say you need to log in. So you can say you need to log in first, or you can be more polite and say, please enter. Oh, excuse me. Please enter your um, user credentials. And let's. Oh, excuse me. My house is not cold. It's just, I don't know what. But I'm not going to edit the video because I'm not a robot, I'm a human and I can't sneeze. So that's the message. So please enter your user credentials. Now you need to ask the user what to enter. So let's say now in the requirements, I was quite open with how you log in. So you can create a username and password for the user to log in. You can use their email ID, email address, and use that with the password to log in. So let's just say that to every new staff you hire, um, your owner will create, maybe in the Excel, or maybe you can imagine a file server somewhere that creates the accounts for you, and we'll begin with the first thing, which will be either username or password, of course. So let's start with username because again, universal usability, you need to make sure you ask the user the information in the same sequence that other applications ask. So let's start with, so you can use the dash wherever you want the user to begin input and have a statement, regarding what you want the user to input. So you can say enter your username. So let's say you have a username. Again, I don't want you to use the specific to design. It will be quite disappointing if you just don't, use your own creativity and imagination and just stick to what I'm trying to show you here. But this is just merely to help you get started, and that's it. I don't want you to follow the same design as I am providing. You can make your own design, and then you can say enter your password. Now, I am aware that if you're using something like BlueJay, uh, the inputs actually go at the bottom here. So, first of all, please don't use BlueJay. If you want to be a professional software developer, you need to stop using BlueJay. You have learned Java using BlueJay, and I think this is the good time when you start using commercial products to the better of your own future. So you then you can add text. So put this, which is the blinky thing that we see here, which adds the information. So you can say add username, and let's say the user has added a username. So I'm just going to add my name, and then this time let's say the user is entering the password, and then you can go here and then you can say like star star star, and this is where I'm entering my password. This is if you're using BlueJay, of course. So I know BlueJay has a line. You can use a box for that, whichever light. So we'll just use that and then change the line to be straight and no arrows. Now again, a lot of us do achieve the same outcome, but be smart. And something like that is what we have, don't we? So what I would do is, if this is, my main screen, so let's just not say home screen because, well, it seems like a main screen, not home screen. So you enter your username, you enter your password, and then I will change the color of this to green. So green means good, of course. So change the color to green, and then in the text here is going to say user is authenticated. So, correct user and so and so. And let's move this more towards, yep, user is authenticated. So green means good. If let's say now that is not what happens then? So I'm going to group these two lines together just because they're going to start bothering us very soon. And let's move this here. And I'm going to move, I can see why I shouldn't have grouped these together, but well, I have made the mistake, so too late. So I'm trying to show you guys that one screen might have two different outcomes based on what you input. So then you can say user is not authenticated, and that is my other route. And so if the user is not authenticated, you need to have the story. So I'm just going to copy this and paste, and oops, something happened that I didn't want to happen, which is it overlaps over the other screen of ours, and that. And then again, take the whole thing with you. So take the banner, put it again at the top. This is why grouping the things together is a great idea. If you are someone like me who hates doing the tedious task, you really like grouping things together. And then let's copy this, and I'm going to, yep, and put it here. So when we are doing this now, this time the password is not correct. So you entered some password, tick, 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 and then you will have an error message. So I'm going to use exclamation signs to represent this is an error message. So user is not valid. And always have a way to help the user maybe re-log in or try to re-log in, or maybe be able to go from here to a next positive step. So we can say something like please contact the owner to reset your password. So let's say you have forgot your password, and then I have to go to the owner to reset my password. Or let's say one of the students asked if they can create this mechanism to reset the password by themselves. That's also absolutely fine. So you can say please contact the owner to reset your password, or try login again. And that's it. So let's not use, well, yeah, but let's not use that. So this helps me understand things better. You can also say error and something like this. Again, will help you understand the problem better. So what have we achieved so far? We have a main screen. We have a screen from where if you're not a valid user for some reason, you will be moved to this screen. If you are a good, a authenticated user, not authenticated user, then obviously you will move to the second screen. Now, I would like to call the second screen as my home screen because, well, it will be more so same based on, irrespective of what kind of user you are. So what I would want is the logic when you start developing your software, I want that the logic is so that I don't need to tell the system what kind of user I am. It should be the responsibility of the software to figure out what kind of user I am. So if I'm owner, show me the options that are relevant to the owner. And then if I'm just a staff, then show me the options that are relevant to the staff. So this revelation that what kind of user you are should be done by your system, not by you. Um, when you're trying to access the software. Not a good understanding of using the software to its best. So what's next? The next would be again, I'm logged in, and let's say I'm the owner. So I could say welcome, and then welcome already, and that's it. Let's say that's it. And let's move this to the center, and and we can use a sign here, and or we can use just the same one, which is a dash. So not in the light of not complicating things for you guys, let's just use the same dash and say please. You don't even have to use it, so if you don't want to use it, that's also fine. Again, design should be your own creativity, not mine, that you just copy it. So please choose one of the options. Choose one of the options from below. Options from below. And when I look below, so it should be one. So one could be, I'm obviously not going to help you guys too much here, so I'll just say feature one. And then you can say feature two, feature three, and obviously owner will have a lot of options, so let's just stay with that for now. And then give it a spice, just to help with readability, and then you can say enter your input, or you can just say enter the options from 1 to 3, and that will tell me that okay, this is what I need to enter if I need um, to input something. So again, let's just group this and then copy and paste and see how easy that my life is now. And you can see the size is not accurate, so let's make our box a little big. There you go. And why I feel no, they're fine. Anyways, so then you can enter your option here. So let's enter. No, not there. Sorry, buddy. No, not again there. So just a few side effects you see when you group things. As you can see me struggling. There you go. So we entered an option. So let's say I enter 1. So I entered 1, and you can say 1 here. And then again, let's group them. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Can you please stop being too smart? That's not again what I wanted to do. Okay, so we'll just select them one by one. Yes, I like talking with my softwares. I know it's weird. And let's drag this, and let's just say valid input added. So some student asked, what kind of validations do you want us to add to the inputs? So every time when user enters something, make sure it's within the given options that are available, because you don't want a user to enter 4 and then nothing happens because it's confusing. So if something wrong is entered, make sure the user is notified about the correct options again. So valid input entered. Or, if it's too technical, we could just say option one selected, option one selected. As you will see, while I'm talking, I'm processing what is good and what is a bad way of doing things. Let's say not so good way of doing things. And then let's copy this again. And again, I want you to show some examples of when user enters something invalid. Does not mean you need to show all the possible situations where a user can enter something invalid, but some options, where that shows the client, which is your mentor during the presentation, that this is what you think will happen in the software, and help your client to understand that this is how the flow of the application will be. So if imagine any negative value basically means an invalid value. So user entered unacceptable. So let's just keep it more generic, because it could be anything. Unacceptable input in value. And yep, and then create a screen here. So let's create a screen here. I'm going to try to, copy. Let's just group them and then copy paste. There you go. See how easy the life is when you use the shortcuts. Well, not always. Okay, so now we need to show this information again. So I'm just going to copy this one, remove that fella because that's not what we need, and we don't need the box either. Please, sir, go away. Okay, he's not going to go away, so we'll just do that and move it, and I'm not happy with how it's positioned here. Again, strive for consistency, and I'm trying to make sure that so this one, if you see, has 0.88 centimeters of difference, and this one also has the same, and this one has not enough. There you go. So you can see how it aligns even on the right side. And you can say, please enter the option 1, 2, 3. And you can say error. And we can say, remember, consistency. Again, use the correct symbols. So error, invalid, unacceptable. Let's just say unacceptable input entered. Or even if input is too technical, you can say value, and then you can say please enter the option 1, 2, 3, and you're basically asking the user to try entering it again, and the attention to detail, and give some space, make it readable, and let the user try entering the input again. So I'll copy this box again and put it here, and let's just say this time the user came to his or her senses and did something correct and entered the right input. So we'll just do till this one, and I'll explain to you guys now how I've made sure that I'm still using the usability principles correctly, and if I can still find somewhere I didn't use, we'll change that. Anyways, so it needs to look same, it needs to have same distance and so on. So strive for consistency. So if you look at these 4 screens, banner is always there and it always says the same thing. and then it has, um, you know, a message at the top, which is, something that grabs my attention. So enter your user credentials or login credentials and either welcome or in. And you can also add my role here, and you can say owner. So let's say I'm the owner. So you can say owner, which, well, I'm not the owner, Oliver is, but um, okay, don't just copy paste. And then you can, obviously, now it looks weird, so make sure you bring it towards the center, and still not in the center. You can see me drawing. So usually I do something like this when we make examples for you guys with EY. So it's a lot faster, which is why having a good functional team is very important. So I'll be doing, I'll start from the beginning, he'll start from the end, and we'll meet in the midway, and then we'll check everything that both of us have done in our own time. And that's how, you make sure whatever you deliver is consistent. Obviously, everybody's human. Very easy to make mistakes. Okay, so just was looking if it's correct now. So I'm quite happy for now. So let's begin. Strive for consistency, as I said. Banners, okay. Information is always, starts from the same distance. That's good. And, so your stars are to grab the attention. Then dash is where you want the user to, understand that you need to input something. And then, when there are options, they are numbered. It's a numbered list that you can select from. So strive for consistency is good. Cater to universal usability. So cater to universal usability is basically using users' experience of using other applications and mapping that experience into this application. So as I said earlier, for most of us we read information from left to right. So begin the text, begin the stuff reading whatever is required to read from the left side. Don't, I've seen students sometimes they put, so some, when you're working as a team, I can understand how easy that is to make the mistake, but that's when you don't review each other's work. So some student will make the list in the center, some student will make the list in the left side. That's not consistent. That's why you lose marks in the prototype. So please make sure you review each other's work so you know that the whole prototype is consistent. Very important. It's your teamwork. It's not your individual work. So very important that you show it as a teamwork. If you're not showing it as a teamwork, there's a problem. It seems like you didn't review each other's work. You are not really working as a team. So, always start your assignment together so what are the general rules to, to work for the assignment, how you're using the variables, how you're using the symbols, and so on. Then we have offer informative feedback. So informative feedback is basically helping me understand what I need to do before even I make a mistake. So things as a please, so you're saying please enter your user credential. If let's say it's not there and it says enter your username, enter your password, maybe it's still okay, but providing more information is okay. You can make it more specific and you can say to access the system, please enter your user credentials, and we can, well, in this case we will have to remove these stars just because of the size of the screen, but that wouldn't be a problem for you guys. But my point is provide as much help, as much information you can. Let's make it pretty again. Okay, so informative feedback, again, enter the option from 1 to 3. So sometimes I see students just saying enter the option. Now, my option could be 1, or my option could be 1 dot, or my option could be 1 dot feature 1, or my option could be feature one. I don't know which one is acceptable. So you see how many trial and errors the user would have to go to finally understand which is the right way to enter the input. So always help the user understand what are the possible options for him or her to enter. So enter the option from 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. That is okay. And then we have yield dialogues to design dialogues to yield closer. So design dialogues to yield closer. We don't have that much for now, but usually it is something like your username and password, and then when your user is authenticated, you can display a message here saying you can say login successful. You can you will be directed to the home screen now. So, you need to make sure it's very it's very tricky to show that in the text-based application, but you can put some weight so that it shows this, and then after a second it goes to the next screen. Completely doable if you guys know already how to do it, but also not something very hard to learn. So I'm going to delete this for now, but well, let's just leave it here. And so don't confuse this exclamation sign with the ones that we're using for the errors. This is just part of grammar. And then we say prevent errors. So prevent errors is where so let's just go a little bit back again to design dialogues to yield closure. So to yield closure is basically when you have done something, tell me if it has been successful or not. If I'm trying to log in, take me to the home screen so I know I'm logged in, or if I'm trying to create an order, tell me the order has been created. If I deleted the order, tell me the order has been deleted. So just going to the next screen where there are different options or maybe even same options doesn't always gives you the confirmation that your action that you were trying to do is successful. So the best way is always to help your user understand that something has been created, something has been deleted, something has been saved after modification. So not just with the crude operations which are create, update, delete, and so on, but just in general you need to make sure that whenever you ask user to input something, you ensure that they understand um, what happened. Prevent errors. So prevent errors is basically adding constraints and validations, making sure a user is not allowed to do something that they shouldn't. So for example, trying to access the system without login. So like, always make sure they are valid user, their password and username or email and password they match, and when they match, and that is when you let the user enter next. Sorry, let's just add that there. And if user is not authenticated, always make sure there is no other way to access the system unless the user is able to log in, but always make sure you show appropriate messages. Again, yield information, tell me what is wrong, tell me what is correct. All of this is part of yielding closure. And then we have prevent errors that we just talked. So anytime user input anything, remember that there are a set of things that user can or can't do, not just with the login, always make sure it's also throughout the system. So, and user entered the correct option, user entering the right format of the input, or, the date is in the right kind of range, or, anything that you can think of always would have some kind of validation. Basics one are such as, basic ones you could think of will be, oops, that's not what I was trying to do. Can it? Yeah, good. So basic one could be it shouldn't be not empty. So anytime the input, see what is mandatory, see what is not mandatory. So if something is not mandatory, it can be empty. Mandatory stuff should never be empty. And then format is correct. You can check the format. So format, for example, name can't have number. So make sure you use a right format. Then, with the dates need to be within the right kind of range. So at least have these kind of validations, if not anything else. And then we have permit easy reversal of action. So permit easy reversal of action, not in these four screens, but that's basically where you want to be able to go back or, be able to delete something, or if you have made mistake, you're able to modify it. So things such as you created your order, and once you've created your order, you ask the staff to confirm the order, and your staff will usually, the person on the counter will just verbally confirm. So let me just confirm the order. So you are ordering a coffee and two chocolate muffins, and whatever there else is in the order. So if you by mistake made a wrong order, you should be able to modify it. So that's easy reversal of action. So if in the system, when the staff is verbally confirming it, system should let the user be able to modify the order. And you can use the same understanding in the other parts of the system as well. Wherever there should be an easy reversal of action, you made a mistake, that's okay. You should be able to update it, change it. But again, it's limited to what your client is needing you to do. So always make sure you do what your client is asking you. And then support internal locus of control. So when you have an appealing software where you have the control of how to go next, how to go back, that's when you have an internal locus of control for the user, and that's very important to support. You should have a control over the application as a user. It shouldn't be like the application is trying to control you. You should be the one selecting the inputs, you should be the one entering the inputs, and so on. And one something very good that you can add here is to enter the option from 1 to 3, or you can press escape button. So press ES key to go to the previous menu. So if in any, throughout my whole software, if at any time I press the escape key, I should be just, everything that I was doing so far, just, ignore it, go back and take me to the previous menu. That again gives you a lot more control. If you change your mind, or you made a mistake, or you're not interested to do something right now, you should be able to go back. With reversal of action, sometimes these two are intertwined. So easy reversal of action, that's good. And then internal locus of control, where you want to just go back, you are losing information that you have entered so far. So you don't need to do this for the software, but something that you should keep in mind for the future is that, when you ask the user to go back, always ask them things such as, you can do that even now, that are you sure you want to go back? And then let the user say yes or no, and then notify the user that if you go back, you will lose all the information that all the progress that you have made so far, and let the user say yes, that's okay. But if you have a better, if you want to do advance into creating a better software in the future, then you can also make sure that you store the status of the user's progress, so that whenever user comes back, you start from the point he left, not from square one again. And then we have reduced short-term memory load. So reduced short-term memory is as simple as not asking the user too much information to enter. So by that, what I mean is that you don't want your user to remember what they did three screens ago. So if you want the user to enter something what they did three screens ago, maybe just help them more by just just doing it for them wherever possible. So if 3 screens ago I told you, so very long processes. For example when you apply for your permanent residence or for your citizenship, they a lot of time they ask trivial information which might be important for them, but as a user you might find it's very tedious to always remember this information which they could have gotten from other ways. But my point is that I'm not judging there. I'm not judging at all, but my point is that there are better ways of doing things. So wherever possible, try to help the user not to load their own memory too much, but actually rely on the application more. So if, for example, you did something where I told you, oh well, your order number is this one, and then later on, for some reason, you have to enter the order. Maybe just tell the user that this is what your order. Are you sure you want to still use the same order? And I'm going here with a hypothesis, so would really depend on what feature you're working on. But this is basically it for the video. I wasn't thinking to make it too long, but I guess you guys can fasten it, or skip ahead if you need to. But that's it. So if you still need any help with how to develop or design, especially design for now, a text-based application, please make sure that you ask me or you can ask your mentor. But this is it. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.